Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Robert, and we're gonna pick up where we left off with 2022's People's Choice Top 200 Solo Games. Today, I'm gonna discuss my picks for numbers 10 through number 6. Let's get started. Okay, so sitting at number 10, we have Explored, the Forest of Adramon. I played this for the first time in 2022, and ever since I started the solitaire board gaming hobby, I've been looking for the best D&D-esque experience at home, a D&D-esque RPG in a box experience that I could play solo. So I've played quite a handful of games for this reason, and this is the absolute holy grail that I found in that category. And I don't think I'll find anything better than this for quite a while. Okay. So this is an amazing system. This is the second in the series, and the first one was Valley of the Dead King. So when I read about it, I decided to go with this one because the theme, I gravitated more towards it, like the magical forest versus the first version, which is a bit more uh, generic D&D tropes, which I'm a sucker for. But this one just attracted me more, the look of it. And apparently, from what I've read, the designers learned a lot from that first game, and it shows in this game. Okay, so this is as I said, it's an RPG in a box. It uses dry erase boards. It has a map and tiles, so as you explore the land, the map layout will change it between games. There's an encounter deck and events that happen. There's a timer element. That you have to watch out for before the game will end at some point. You can just explore infinitely. So one thing I enjoy about this is that it feels, when you're done with it, it feels like you went through an epic D&D campaign. Now, funny enough, disclaimer, I've never actually played D&D, but I know a lot about it. I've read about it, and lots of things are based in the D&D system, so I do have a notion of it. I've just never actually role played D&D. I've never had a party or anything. Just never something that in my life that happened. But I've wanted to explore something like that, and now with all the solo board games that exist, that's why I went and looked for them. So this game does offer that experience without having to come in for months or having to look for people or gather everybody. And once you grasp the rules, you could play this over a weekend, and you should be able, maybe in a day, if you resolve things really fast, you could finish a game. It takes quite a bit, but unless you are killed early on in the game. But ideally, it should take you like a weekend, and it feels epic. Like the exploration, the amount of detail, the flavor text. I appreciate that not everything is illustrated. There's a handful of illustrations for the bosses, mostly, and I think the character sheets too, if I remember correctly. But um, when you encounter monsters, it's all text based, so it gives you a description, a name, and it just leaves it up to your imagination. This system is just incredible. I think the designers are by the fifth or sixth version by now. So just really rich system that allows to try different things in each iteration. Okay, and um, the exploration is just amazing. The amount of detail, like I said, is really good. I love the character development, the leveling up, managing your inventory, managing your gold, unlocking things in the map as you develop throughout the campaign. It just feels really epic. You can play it pure solo with just one character, or up to any amount of characters you want to control simultaneously. I played it a few times with controlling two characters, and I just prefer it like that to find the synergies. But I then bought all the content for the game, and I'm really excited to for the upcoming campaign, for a campaign book. So this is not a campaign game like you just play one adventure and it feels like a campaign, like you play an entire D&D campaign over a weekend, which I love. But there's a upcoming, a proper 500-page campaign book for this game that's gonna go on GameFound soon, and I'm salivating for that. Like once that comes out, I'm gonna play this again with all the content, and I'm gonna go through that adventure book, and I think it's just gonna be the most epic, like, role playing adventuring experience I'm gonna have at home. I don't think anything's gonna beat that once that happens, but for quite a while. One little warning though, the rules are a bit tough to learn. There's a lot to remember. All right, the rule book Again, I don't envy the task of writing a rule book. It's not horrible or anything, but it was just a bit tough. It was a bit of a tough cookie to crack. It was a bit tough to learn the rules. And there's a couple of things that are not answered very well in the rule book. Very few. Minor complaint though. Just incredible system. Love this game, and I don't think I'll find it. This is my holy grail adventuring RPG. And I try other games out of just curiosity and novelty, but I really don't think that as far as having a D&D like experience at home, I don't think anything will beat this for me. So definitely check it out with the caveat of the rules being a bit rough, but just incredible system. Moving on to number 9, we have Scythe. This was my second Stonemaier game after Wingspan, and I mentioned that because I just love, between those two games, the amazing component quality and presentation. I just think it's just incredible, just works of art, these two games, and I'm excited to eventually try more Stonemaier games. But anyway, Scythe, I think this game is a masterpiece. Just the game system itself, I'm not even going to comment on the Automa yet, but the game system itself, what it offers, just what a rich experience. It has it's an engine builder. It has area control. It has combat. It just does so many things. Um, it has one of the best automas that I've tried. I love the super high ceiling this game has for learning it and becoming better at it. Learning different opening moves depending on your faction and depending on what board you're assigned. Uh, the just there is just so much there to learn, and when you add the expansions, it just adds even more layers for you to learn and get the most out of it. So I honestly did not find any flaws with this game, and I'm not like a perfect game reviewer or anything. I'm still relatively new to this. Maybe like after another couple hundred games that I try, I'll find a flaw with this. But I think this game is immaculate. I think the Automa is really easy to run. I love that you can run multiple Automa. I haven't tried the expansions. The only one that I've opened was the extra factions, but the modular board, the campaign, which I've read is incredible. Just the amount of replayability that this offers between the different factions, the different board combinations, the modular board, it's just absolutely insane. I think this is just a masterpiece of a game. And I know that it might be a bit dry for some people. I understand. Maybe for some people, running the Automa is a bit of a pain. I think that once you grasp it, it's pretty easy to run. One last thing I'll mention: this game taught me that I don't like app versions of games are not. They don't help me determine if I'm gonna like a game or not, because I got the app on sale before I tried the board game version, and it just didn't do anything for me, right? Uh, I I dropped it pretty fast, and I thought I wouldn't like the game. So I saw this on sale and I bit the bullet. And well, as you can see now, it's on my top 20. So just really impressive. And I've just learned that I don't like app versions of games in general. I make a couple exceptions, but I just don't like app versions of games. But just absolutely incredible game. And like I said, I slept on it for quite a while. I know this game has been around for a while now, but if you're new to the hobby, don't sleep on this game. I think it's just incredible. Check it out. All right, so moving on at number 8, we have Too Many Bones. And folks, the hype with this game is real, okay? I eventually decided to take the plunge because I know it does have a high price tag, and man, once you have it in your hands, you'll want to buy even more. I know that it's hard to justify. Some people have a big gripe with the price. I get it. But look, once you have this and you feel those plastic cards, the hefty chips, the dice, what a premium experience, man. Like, just one of the best presentations that I've had from any board game that I've bought. Just the quality of the components, just incredible. Just bravo to Chip Theory Games for how they produce this game. And it will keep you busy for a while, okay? Just the base game. It You'll want to buy everything. I'm telling you, it'll be hard to like control yourself. You're gonna want to rationalize uh, buying more and more. Like, oh, I used to spend hundreds of dollars on just one Magic the Gathering commander deck. So you'll try to rationalize it. So it'll be tough not to want to buy everything as soon as you realize how amazing this game is. So it is one of the most unique games in my collection. The way that you build your character with dice, and they have the character mat, and you place the dice in the slots. And how one amazing thing about this game is how you can still you can find use in bad dice rolls. The character development is pretty good. One little complaint I have though is the character development when you level up your character. It can feel on rails because sometimes there's a like an obvious best way to build your character. I've not really deviated with different builds for my characters, honestly. You can buy this. You can play this game with one gear lock. That's what the characters are called. You can just play it with one gear lock or up to four. I think three is the sweet spot. I like controlling three gear locks, and just one gear lock can. I don't know. I feel that the experience is not as rich, but for folks that just want to that only like controlling one character, you can totally buy this game for that. So if the price tag is an issue, I get it, but I'm telling you, once you have this game in your hands, you're gonna want to buy everything for it, okay? And there's tons of expandability. The replayability will come from buying more gear locks, which are characters. It'll allow for more character combinations, and you can also buy expansions that add more baddies and a campaign mode. There's tons and tons of ways that you can expand this, okay? So just an incredible experience if you haven't tried it. There's nothing like this in my library, to be honest, in my game library. I wouldn't have anything to replace it with, so this is always gonna stay in my library. I bought the latest GameFound campaign of them with the last Unbreakable expansion, so I'm waiting for that to arrive because I also ordered Undertow. So I want to try those unique, more handcrafted experiences that come with two. Those are standalone expansions that you can buy. They're a bit more advanced, but I want to try them because I think from what I've read, they're a bit more balanced. The balance is a bit out of all over the place with the base game, by the way. But it's just fun. It sets up quick. It's surprisingly, once you get the rules, like at the end of the day, I don't think the gameplay loop in this game is difficult to learn. It's not that complicated. It's just that the first time it might be a bit tough to internalize it, but once you do, it just the turns go by super fast. Okay. It surprisingly doesn't occupy. It doesn't have a big table footprint, which is crazy. Just you can, because everything you have the character mats and the tactical character board. It's all just square shapes, so you can just fit them in a table pretty. It's pretty modular, is what I'm saying. You'll be able to fit this on almost any regular size table. So I just love this game. Really happy that I took the plunge with this. Just buy the base game with a couple of gear locks and you'll be set for quite a while. And try to hide your credit card when the game arrives, because you're gonna want to buy everything. Just a word of warning, but just incredible solo experience. Okay, so moving on to number 7, we have Dune Imperium. When I grew up, I played all the RTS games of Dune on PC. Big part of my childhood. Love all the RTS Dunes to death. So I get into the solo board gaming hobby in 2020, right? And I hear that this game is coming out, a new Dune board game. I was really sad that I never got to try the legendary Dune board game that's super famous. I never was into a board gaming group nerdy enough to be or hardcore enough to play that game, so I never tried it. So I see that there's a Dune game coming out, board game coming out, that is soloable. So I was super happy and I pre-ordered it directly from Direwolf, right? And now movie tie-in games, they tend to have a bad reputation of being just tacked on, just rushed out. I had low expectations for this game. So it arrives. And well, by now you all know that this game is one of the most popular games on Board Game Geek, and it's super successful. It's had 2 expansions by now, so it's an incredible game. And what can I say about it that it hasn't been said already? So it's just a super rich experience. It's very thematic. It really does service to what Dune is about. There's There's intrigue, the whole intrigue and backstabbing aspect of Dune, and leaning towards certain factions and managing politics. Just all of that is in here. It's just incredible how they managed to mesh the thematic aspects of Dune with the mechanics of sending your workers and having battles in Arrakis. Just amazing. And the AI is just so easy to run. You can even use the official app to do it if you want to make it a bit less fiddly. I just do it all analog myself. And if you want to, I actually made a file for this if you're interested, because there's an app exclusive feature where it'll chug through the card market, so that it'll chuck through the card market so that it simulates opponents buying cards from the market. I made a print and play file so that you can do that analog. You just need a couple dice to do it, but so that you can integrate it into the deck. But yeah, the AI for this is just very easy to run. It simulates opponents really well, and there's a ceiling. There's a pretty high ceiling for learning the best moves and becoming good at the game. Just like with Scythe, which I mentioned earlier, you can learn a lot about strategy, and just it rewards and lets you become better by playing it more. Eventually, I mean, you can trounce the AI once you become like a super pro at the game, but I don't enjoy. I don't have a need for that. Like, I can just play it a whole bunch and then revisit it a few months later. But when it came out, I played the heck out of it, and I've only played the base game. I have the expansions. I haven't tried them yet, but I've heard that they're like essential now. Like, playing it without the expansions, like that people don't do it anymore. So I can't wait to try the expansions for this. But if you slept on this game, don't try this game. It's just an absolutely an absolute masterpiece of a game, and it really fills my heart with joy that there is a good Dune board game that is soloable. Like, you have no idea how happy that makes me, and how surprised I was when I received this in the mail and I started playing it. Like, I could not stop playing it for like 3 weeks. Just such a good game. Make sure to try it out. Moving on to number 6, we have Arkham Horror, the card game. And this is the first LCG that I'm listing here in my top 20. You'll see where the other two land. One thing that I've done that I've thought of in the past is to kind of cheese it a bit and list all three LCGs in one, just so that I can add space for other games. But I can't really do that when voting, so I had to separate all three. So I list this as my sixth. Now, although it's behind the other two, spoiler alert, although it's behind the other two, I do acknowledge that this is the most mechanically rich and deepest out of the three main LCGs, the other two being Marvel Champions and Lord of the Rings. Okay. However, despite that, it's my least favorite. I'm not too big into the Arkham line or Arkham Horror brand of games. I like it, okay, but just not my favorite. I know that there's people that are big into Cthulhu and all of that. I'm not into that too much. So the theme just doesn't do anything for me personally. But there's also this was the first game that introduced the whole fail forward mechanic for me. I literally, as far as board games or whatever, like that, this was, I think, that I can think of, this was the first time that I was introduced to that idea. It's like, okay, so I lose and I just keep playing, really. Nothing wrong with it. It just kind of took a bit for me to wrap my head around that. I know the chaos bag is divisive. It can be a bitch sometimes, not gonna lie. But it's just like the amount of deck building that this offers. It's just really good. The archetypes, the variety with the investigators. I wish it was soloable a bit better, just with one character, but I can't play this game with just one character, honestly. Like, I feel like just having one character to search around the map and move around the map, it just feels so restrictive. So I always play with two characters. I think it's mandatory to me. And it allows for building one deck that focuses on certain things, and then the other compensates for that. So Great game. I haven't played it in a while, and the reason for that is the campaign commitment to it. I don't like that this game doesn't offer the ability to just play one-off sessions, and I know that there's people that love everything having a campaign mode. So this game it does so many things. It offers so many amazing things that people like, but for me, I usually prefer just games that allow me to play it in a one-off session, and that's it. And also, one little warning. First, the base game by itself is really weak, in my opinion. You have to get this plus cycle for it to be worthwhile. And number two, this game has a surprising amount of rules nuances. The learn to play guide will barely get you started, but if you read the rules reference, goddamn, there's just so many things that are easy to miss with this game, and you might be playing something wrong with this game. So or you'll have to read that carefully and write a cheat sheet or something, or go look at a list of commonly made mistakes, because there's a lot of things that you could be doing wrong with this game, because there's a lot going on. So be watch out for that. So it is super deep, the deepest, and I have to again give it credit, out of the three main solo LCGs, the deepest one. But incidentally, my least favorite, because of the theme, the pretty much campaign only aspect of it, and not a fan of the fail forward mechanic, honestly. But amazing game, nevertheless. Amazing deck building, amazing once you have a decent collection, amazing replayability. This could be a lifestyle game. Like if this is like the one game you wanted to play solo, like you could. There's lots of content here. So great game. Don't sleep on it. Try it out. It might end up being one of your favorites. All right, so let's wrap up by comparing to what I voted last year. I already talked about Fields of Fire, and I feel that I could have switched it out. I did mention this when I talked about Fields of Fire. I think it should be within my top 10. I think instead of it being on my 11th spot, I would have switched it out with Scythe. So Scythe would have been 11th, Field of Fire would have been in its place instead. So a little difference there, but yeah, amazing game. If you want to hear my thoughts on it, I'll link you to the timestamp on the previous video about it. Eon Sand, I already talked about it. Great game. I played it this year a few times. It's not that like I've stopped playing it. I just wanted to highlight other games this year, and it was on my honorable mentions, but I already talked about it. So I'll link you to that if you're interested. Then we have Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle Earth. And the reason it was listed that year is because I had played it very close around the time that I voted that year. And I was a bit enchanted by it at the beginning. But then I started really getting tired of how it doesn't allow you to explore the map. I know that there is an exploration mode, but I just feel that the difficulty then plummets, right? So I just got tired of that aspect, like because it's an adaptation of or like a reskin of Mansions of Madness. So I know that in Cthulhu there's like that pressure and that helplessness thing where you're supposed to like run and do things. I get it, but I don't think in this Journeys in Middle Earth, I don't think that translates, and it really left a sour taste in my mouth. I just wanted to explore the map a bit more freely instead of having so much pressure on me all the time. So I sold the game. Amazing game. It is really good, but that part bothered me, so I had to let it go. So I don't even like put it on. I don't really list it anywhere really because I don't own it anymore. And also the app exclusive aspect of it, I'm not 100% opposed against it, but I am a analog evangelist. Like I just like my board games being analog, and like a lot of people, I like playing my board games so that I avoid looking at screens. So that is a contentious aspect of a board game. If the app aspect, again, not is not gonna be a deal breaker for me, but that is a point of contention for me if it has an app. And moving on to then Arkham Horror, nothing else to add here. I already listed it. I just it was bumped a spot before that last year, and I just moved it ahead. Then we have for number 6 we have Rise of the Key-Raken, and that's the solo mode for Keyforge Adventures, which I mentioned when talking about Star Wars Destiny and how it inspired me to do the solo mode for Star Wars Destiny. Like I said, the that Keyforge solo mode, it allowed me to play Keyforge Soloable. And Keyforge, what it does is it feels like playing, like opening a pre-constructed Magic deck, or building a sealed deck. Like when you play those decks, and when you see the power level of those decks, that's what it feels like. They're not broken typically. Every now and then, if you buy, again, those decks are randomized, right? So you might buy a deck that's completely broken, but typically the power level is very tame, so it feels like kitchen table fun when playing Keyforge Adventures. And this solo mode allows me to do that at home, and I just cannot begin to tell you how hooked I got with. I felt like I was playing Magic at home with a sealed deck, which my favorite way to play Magic, other than just kitchen table with like jank decks, is sealed. Sealed was my second most favorite way to play Magic, and I'm sad that there's no more content for it. I know that there was a Keyforge Kickstarter recently. I hope that they make more adventures, and I really will be happy to buy more Keyforge decks if they come up with more solvable bosses. But just wow, what a game! And I would play it more often, but I just I just got tired of beating the same boss over and over. I do still break it out occasionally, but guys, come on, make more Keyforge Adventures content. I'll send you all the money. It's so good. All right, so thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week where I'll discuss numbers 5 through 1. See you in the next one.